Legendborn was overrated. I disagree. Hi everyone, I am living through a first world emergency right now. Long story short, the internet is down nationwide, and so I can't order food and I have no food in my house because I am not a responsible adult. My reactions might be very strong because I am hungry, borderline hangry. So, forewarned. But before we jump into it, the reason I am even making this video is this is a celebration for us of getting the 100K plaque. I haven't fully opened it yet or put it anywhere because I wanted to show you guys. Still feels very surreal to reach a milestone like this. I don't want to like get emotional because I will if you allow me to. I just really can't even describe how important this channel is to me and has been to me, especially in 2020, which is when I started it. I've said it before in my newbie tag, but I was such an avid reader when I was a kid, and then I think a lot of people have told me that this has happened to them, but college, like just school and then careers and life got in the way, and I knew that I still loved reading, but I just never had time to read. And when I did, I didn't know I didn't have books draw me in as they used to. And it wasn't until I kind of discovered Six of Crows and then went down that whole rabbit hole, which I'm still in, that I kind of returned to the person that I was. Honestly, like my imagination has come back, like things just feel more magical. I have these new ideas constantly flowing into me from all these different points of view from all over the world. Like it's just, I'm so thankful. And all of you guys who have ever recommended a book, who have ever read a book that I have recommended, even if you hated it, just thank you so much. Just know that you are a part of this really important part of my life, and I'm so eternally grateful for you. You guys are so funny and smart and wonderful and caring, and you've got great taste. I briefly skimmed the questions. Some of you might not have good taste. We'll find out. But anyway, just thank you so much for this. I will treasure it forever. I am absolutely honored to, I guess, be the head of the ship that is this strange little book community. So I'm going to put this up somewhere. What are we doing today? We are reading your unpopular book opinions. And I said, I just want you guys to know a little something. You guys sent this to me on Instagram, and I did say that I would not be naming names, that I would keep your secrets, take them to the grave. But I just want you to know that I can see your name. So just know that I'm judging you just a little bit. Okay? I'm not, not going to hold it against you. Opinions can change. But just based on the few that I saw, interesting. Just interesting stuff. Like I said, I just kind of like screenshotted and skimmed a little bit. So these are going to be my raw first reactions. Some of these I know that I'm going to disagree with. Some of these I will feel validated by. So here we go. We're going to read these out. And oops, don't look at the names. We're going to read these out. You are allowed to like absolutely anything, and you can hate anything you hate. It is absolutely fine. This is all in good fun. I'm laughing. Don't take anything I say seriously ever. Okay? Cool. Let's begin. Here we go. Whoa! I didn't see this one. This is the first one on my list. Okay. I'm a little upset. We're starting off. What? Shades of Magic is a mediocre fantasy series. This gives off the vibes of Clueless, where it's like, you're a virgin that can't drive. Shades of Magic is a mediocre fantasy series. I actually read Shades of Magic, like, before I got into Six of Crows and everything. Like, that was one that I knew about before I really got fully back into reading. It just had all the elements I love. Like, I love books set in London. This book is set in 3 different Londons. I love the idea of doors and different dimensions and stuff like that. So it had everything I was looking for. I really loved Shades of Magic. I'm really excited for it to continue because V.E. Schwab is currently working on kind of the next 3. Okay, whatever. Mediocre. I disagree. Okay, I saw that this one was mentioned quite a few times, but a lot of people said that they don't understand the hype or they think it's overrated. ACOTAR. So I totally understand. I think that the thing that got me about ACOTAR, this was like, I basically read Six of Crows and then Shadow and Bone, and then I jumped into A Court of Thorns and Roses because I felt like people kept hounding me about it, and so I was still really fresh back into the fantasy world, you know? I just felt like for me, I loved it because it had this kind of rich world, and I hadn't read anything like that in a very long time. And I think that for a lot of people, ACOTAR might be an introduction into fantasy, and so having that world and having like the Dawn Court and the Summer Court and all these I don't know. I think if you're already in fantasy and you read ACOTAR, you're kind of like, eh. But I was along for the ride. I think looking back now, especially with the newest one, I'm kind of like, all right, this is old. But I think I get the hype because I was part of that wave of like, it just kind of took over my life and I read the whole series in like a week. I understand you though. I understand you. Friends to lovers is better than enemies to lovers. Ooh. Honestly, here's the thing for me with tropes. I'm there for the burn. And however you're gonna give it to me, give it to me. So if it's like childhood friends to lovers, enemies to lovers, as long as there's yearning and pain, I'm in. Can you hear my stomach? So hungry! Six of Crows duology is amazing, but the other Grishaverse books aren't good. Shadow and Bone, didn't super love it. I appreciated the world building that it did. But yeah, Six of Crows, superior. And I've said this before, as the biggest Nikolai stan, King of Scars, Rule of Wolves, felt like she just kind of threw it to the fans. Like, it wasn't, I don't know, I wasn't super into it. So I agree wholeheartedly with this. However, someone also said, I couldn't get through the first 3 chapters of Six of Crows. I don't think fantasy is my genre. Sometimes fantasy isn't your genre, and that's okay. Also, I thought Six of Crows was a little slow starting, and it's actually kind of a fandom joke in that the first chapter of Six of Crows is totally different. Like, we never return to those characters ever again. Well, one of them, maybe. And so a lot of people are like, I only read the first chapter. And the rest of the fandom is like, go back. Like, you have to at least read the first 3 or something. Yeah, if you've read only the first chapter of Six of Crows, at least try and read the first 3. But if you read the first 3 and you don't like it, okay. That's fine. Okay, I saw this one a lot, and it is that Normal People is overhyped, and then I didn't like Conversations with Friends. I haven't read Normal People because I didn't like Conversations with Friends. Or which one did I read? I read Conversations with Friends, I suppose. Don't sue me. I'm not super into Sally Rooney, and I should be because Irish pride, but no. I might read her new book, but I'm in no rush. Yeah, I agree. Conversations with Friends, I did not get it. Did not get the hype. Okay, so I read this one possibly incorrectly. I can't understand the tone of this. But I'm going to read it. Murakami's shitty protagonists and misogyny is exactly what makes his work so interesting. So I'm going to say that you're okay with Murakami, right? And yeah, I kind of agree. I think that he gets shit on a lot for being apparently misogynistic, and I will link it if I can find it again, if I remember. But actually, a female Japanese artist who has said that she's kind of inspired by Murakami, she got him in an interview. He normally doesn't really do interviews. She got him in a interview and straight up asked him yo, what's up with your treatment of women and how you portray women and stuff. And they talked about it. And I agree. I hesitate to call it misogyny. In my reading experience of Murakami, I feel like all of his protagonists are pathetic. Definitely the men across the board, pathetic individuals. And really it's the women who have any kind of range. I know that a lot of times people say that the women in Murakami are really only like sex objects, and I actually disagree. I feel like there are many different kinds of women in his books versus the men are always the same. They're either like bad guy who's been corrupted by like being in the workforce, I don't know, and then there's just like the pathetic guy who's like a tutor or like a struggling writer or something like that, where there's women who actually have these richer lives. And like, I don't know, maybe I'm misreading it, but it is interesting to analyze how he talks about women and men and women and men interactions. But I would hesitate to call it misogyny, but I think that conversation is definitely interesting and is an interesting part of Murakami's work. So yeah, we all judge books by their cover. Yeah. Ooh, this one, I'm not sure I agree, but I would love to start a conversation. White authors shouldn't write about other cultures. I think that the word culture is the part that I'm tripping up on. For me, if I were to write a story, because of the people I know in my life, like I don't just know white people, because of my experiences and the people I know in my life, I would feel confident writing about someone who is not white, as long as my story isn't explaining their culture. Like, for example, I don't know, like one of my best friends since kindergarten is Chaldean, and I feel like I could confidently write a story in which my friend, we get transported to another world and we're fighting aliens, right? I could write her personality perfectly. But if I were writing a story that talked about her relationship with her Chaldean community and, you know, stuff like that, like her internal home life and stuff like that, I agree, like I don't know enough about that to write it well. So I kind of agree that like writing outside of your culture, if the story is about the culture, yeah, tricky. I do think that some people can do it well, and I don't think it should be like across the board disallowed. But as far as like white people can only write about white people, or black people can only write about black people, or, you know, Korean people can only write about Korean people, hard disagree from me. But I think it's the subject in which you're writing and what's the focus of your writing and stuff like that. So I don't understand how people love the cruel prince. The bully/bullied trope makes me sick. Yeah, so this was my first reaction when I first read The Cruel Prince, and you guys know it because like my second video on this channel is me basically shitting on Cardan. I still will stand with you with that. The bullying that occurred in the first book, he didn't go through enough character development for me to be okay with him. When I just read the second and third book, I love Cardan. Honestly, I really like him. He's kind of a doofus. He's stupid, but like lovable. So I think if we just had more time and more understanding and more character work to get us from Cardan in book 1 to Cardan in book 2 and 3, I would have been more okay with it. Or like if they had just like lessened the stuff that happened in book 1, I would be okay. Yeah, I agree that the stuff that went down in the first book, I'm still not super okay with. They should preface the Starless Sea with saying it has literally no plot, just vibes. Yeah. Divergent was a terrible series. Everyone just wanted another trilogy like The Hunger Games. I actually never read Divergent. I was just talking to a friend about this, about like dystopian, that era, that I really grew up in, because I remember The Hunger Games came out when I was, I guess, in middle school. Yeah, I never read Divergent. I read Maze Runner and stuff like that, but I cannot comment. Sorry. The Selection series is actually really good. You know what? I didn't hate it. Like I said, I think when I forget what video I talked about it in, but like if you like that trope of, I guess is that like a reverse harem trope? I don't know what that is. Or is it just a harem trope? What's a reverse? What am I saying? I'm so hungry that my brain is turning off. It was fine. It was cheesy, but if you're down for the cheese, I had no big issues with it. to be honest, and I just lost my place. Oh my god. I really like it when books look really worn, dog-eared pages, notes, broken spines, etc. Me too. I love going to used bookstores. The texture of paper, like when it gets a little bit yellowed, when it gets stinky, I love finding notes in my books. I have no issue with people writing in my books. I find it endearing. I love it. Like even on my Kindle, you can see like most underlined lines. Kindle will like tell you if other people have highlighted this line. I love that. I love seeing what jumps out at other people. So yeah, I agree. Ooh, one person said they hate the Chosen One narrative. And one person said, I love the Chosen One narrative. It seems like everybody hates them these days. Yeah, I think that it's a trope that's overdone or is done most commonly. I feel, yeah, for me, I'm as long as it's written well, I'm down. I don't really care. No, you should not read XYZ classics before you die if you don't want to. I think that's a popular book opinion. I think that we have gotten over the like, you must read Moby Dick before you die kind of thing. And the people who are like that are probably not readers for fun. They're readers for whatever else you read for. I don't know. Enemies to Lovers is overrated. Whatever. The love hypothesis is atrocious. I'm going to pretend that you just put this in there to get a reaction out of me. I don't think you really believe that. Just for my heart. I'm protecting myself by thinking that. Ooh, okay, this one. Six of Crows is kind of overrated, to be honest. And I think a couple people said this. I know that I hype up Six of Crows so much and it literally changed my life and blah, 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 blah. I low-key agree. I think I was just talking to a friend about this, that Six of Crows was really one of the first books that I hadn't read a book like that in so long, like a fantasy, and I just remember reading it and it drew me in so much, and I was just like, there was this nostalgia element to it and I was so excited. Now, having read a ton, you guys know, I mean a ton of young adult fantasy, I can look back and be like, okay, this wasn't like the book, you know, like this wasn't, would I still say that it's a god tier book? I think so, but I think that it was great because it came to me at exactly the right time and I was in the exact right mood for it, so on and so forth. So, you know, do I think that Six of Crows is the best young adult fantasy of all time? I wouldn't go that far. So I'm kind of with you. The forced marriage trope is the worst. Cringe. Yeah, I have weird feelings about it. There are some times where I don't hate it. There are some times where I'm just kind of like, bleh. So I agree. I know Sarah J. Maas is controversial, but she's not as bad a writer as people make her out to be. Yeah, I mean, for me, as a reader, I enjoy books that will, like, transport me. Like, if writing is absolutely knock my socks off beautiful, I will notice. And if writing is absolutely just bad, I will notice, and I think I'm noticing it more and more as I'm like writing myself. But for Sarah J. Maas, like, she tells a story. She makes characters that I like or like I have feelings for. I don't think she's like a super bad writer. I've never really like things about her writing, it might be repetitive, etc. But for me, it's more about like the feeling that the book gives me rather than looking down deep into like the writing. So yeah, for me, I have no big issues with her writing. Breaking Spines is illegal. I feel like everyone's doing it. Where's the book that I just read? I just finished reading Apples Never Fall. Do you see this poor spine? Sorry. It's hard to hold, you know, like certain positions. It's easier to just... So, sorry. Kill me. Lock me up. I break spines. I didn't like Ninth House. I found it to be just meh. Yeah, I was actually just talking to my friend about this as well, that Ninth House, I felt like it started... Like, we got kind of thrown into the middle of a story, and I was a little bit lost, and so I was kind of lost for the whole book, but I do want to go back and read it because I feel like I wasn't there, you know? Anyway. This person said, though, Amish romance is better written than Sarah J. Maas's books. I have never read an Amish romance. I don't really understand. that. That doesn't really make super sense to me, but okay. I hate the shadows between us. It wasn't even real enemies to lovers. Yeah. I have a whole video on that book. Enjoy. I love the miscommunication trope. Yeah. It stresses me out, but yeah. Isaac from the King of Scars duology is underrated. Yes. Hard agree. Song of Achilles wasn't that good. Song of Achilles is overrated. Basically a lot of Song of Achilles slander. I have not read Song of Achilles yet, as you guys know, because you ask me to read it once a day. So I don't know. I can't. Somebody else said that it was basically like a fanfic. Don't come for me. I'm the messenger. But ouch. Yeah. Yeah. I can't say anything. And maybe I shouldn't. The Red Queen series isn't that good. Yeah, I did not love the Red Queen series. Somebody said Cardan's tale is disgusting. And when I was reading those books, like, I don't know if I was actively trying to forget or if I just naturally, it wasn't mentioned a lot, but I like forget that he has a tail. And I enjoy tailless Cardan. And I remember talking to one of my friends who doesn't read fantasy whatsoever, and she was talking about like, and did you know that in some fantasy books, like, they have animal features like tails or like blah. And I was like, girl, I know. And she was like really scandalized by that. And she was like, what does that mean about our society? I was like, I don't know. I prefer my love interest without tails. So sorry, Cari, but I didn't enjoy an Enchantment of Ravens. It's been 3 years, so I'll try again. To be honest, I didn't love Enchantment of Ravens that much either on my first read because I had just come off of reading, I don't know what, but I read something else that had like a really strong kind of simmering slow burn romance, and I thought that this romance in Enchantment of Ravens was a little too insta-lovey, and then I just like wasn't excited about the adventure. So yeah, I understand. When people come to me and say that they didn't like Sorcery of Thorns, then I'm kind of like, I'm gonna stand over here and squint at you. But no, I get you. Don't worry. I liked Gilded Wolves more than Six of Crows. Ooh! So I still haven't made my video about Gilded Wolves because I have thoughts about how it ended. How do I say this? I feel like the crows are all so cagey with each other. Like, even to the very end, they've still got their guards up, and even though they're friends, they're just so in themselves and guarded as people. And I feel like in Gilded Wolves, they were much more like friends. There was this kind of, because they weren't kind of like scared for their lives all the time, I think there was this point, there were like points where they could actually just kind of like chill and be friends. And so I think I liked the friendship in Gilded Wolves more than Six of Crows just because of that. Like, they actually let their guards down and like actually loved each other and like told each other that they loved each other as friends and stuff. So I understand. Jace is the worst Herondale. Jace is the Herondale that I would definitely want to punch in the face the most. From Blood and Ash is a terrible book. I'm sorry. Don't be sorry. I made a video about that book. Don't be sorry. Breaking Spines is normal. Please stop thinking it's a really underrated thing. Yes. It's just easier to read books sometimes like that, guys. I really dislike male protagonists. That's okay. So I actually get a lot of people asking me to recommend books with male protagonists. And for me, I don't really care. Like, either way, I don't really care. So it's just, I always find it funny when people have a preference. Because for me, it's just, Sorcery of Thorns just didn't do it for me. Speak of the devil. Sorcery of Thorns just didn't do it for me. But I absolutely loved Vespertine. Interesting, because I feel like we're switched. I absolutely love Sorcery of Thorns. Vespertine didn't super do it for me. So the universe is balanced. I'm happy that you exist. I felt so much cringe with the Spanish love deception that I couldn't even finish it. Yeah. Dropping those baby bombs. Can't do it. Can't do it. We Hunt the Flame was boring. Okay, I kind of agree. What are your thoughts on We Free the Stars, however? Because I feel like We Free the Stars made We Hunt the Flame worth it. It's okay to buy your own books, I certainly do, but libraries should be utilized more often. Yeah, support your local library. Almost all of my reading is done via library. I use Libby and Overdrive, so enjoying toxic men and relationships in my fantasy books doesn't mean I support it in real life. I agree. I think that in literature, a lot of things are exaggerated, and that helps you learn lessons that you can then put into your real life, if that makes sense. When we're talking about villains and we want to see a character arc of them, you know, realizing that they're bad and getting better, like, we do that in little ways. Like, you can have a friend that did something bad and then they, like, come back from that. But you need to see it in a more exaggerated way to be able to see it in your real life. Does that make any sense? I hope you understand what I'm saying. But yeah, I think that enjoying or reading things that you wouldn't accept in your real life does not mean that you like support them in your real life. It just means that it's fake. It's fiction. Childhood friends to lovers is vomit emoji. I appreciate the vomit emoji. A lot of things about the Midnight Library being overhyped or just really bad. I thought it was very, very cheesy, but I know that the author was going through an incredibly rough time and wrote that kind of as a healing process for himself. So I'm happy it helped him out at least. But yeah, I thought it was quite, as someone who has suffered with depression, thought it was a little cheesy. Authors shouldn't overhype themselves on TikTok. Okay, I don't have TikTok, but I do have Instagram. And I used to never remember author names and like never care who wrote things. And now that I have like favorite authors and stuff, I pay attention to authors more, which I normally didn't, is what I'm trying to say. And it's weird to know, for me, just for me, it's weird to know too much about an author when you're reading their books, because then you kind of start to picture them writing it and like what they were thinking, and there's a motorcycle, and it kind of loses that magic. So for me, I tend to try and completely forget who an author is. Like, for example, I just read something by Adrienne Young, or even Margaret Rogerson, who I love. I don't know anything about them. I don't really know what they look like. I don't know where they're from. I don't know anything about them. One thing I do like, though, is people like V.E. Schwab or Leigh Bardugo, when they talk about writing briefly, or like, you know, struggling to write. I think I'm okay with that. But yeah, I have like weird feelings about very socially active authors. I prefer them to be a mystery to me. Like, don't look at the man behind the curtain. Like, I would prefer Oz to stay back there. Legendborn was overrated. I disagree. I hate tropes where the girl is battle-hardened and a badass, but some boy softens her. I like it if it's in a way that, like, the relationship, like, she suddenly finds safety, and so she's able to be a little bit softer because she's not fighting for her life and she kind of, like, trusts someone. I like that, but perhaps you should read what I just recently read, The Sky in the Deep by Adrienne Young. Badass battle girl Viking lady. And she remains a badass battle girl Viking lady. So, enjoy. Children of Blood and Bone is awful. Ooh. Yeah, so I didn't finish this series. I was just confused by it. I think I talked about it before, but for me, there's multiple POVs in that book, and two of the main female characters have the exact same voice. Like, there's no difference between them, which you need if you're going to do multiple POVs. And so I was confused for like all of the book. I would be reading a chapter thinking that it was like A who was talking and it was B the whole time, and I would have to be like, okay, let's start this over. So I kind of agree. Children of Blood and Bone was not a favorite of mine. A lot of these are just you people agreeing with each other, so you guys are not alone. More than one of you is saying To Kill a Kingdom is overrated. I just want to know, what is overrated? Like, I feel like some people use the word overrated to talk about, people talk about it too much, or people say that it's way too good. I don't know. I guess because I don't really look at how other people, like, I'm not on booktok. I rarely use my bookstagram, so like I don't see people talking about books constantly. I live in a bubble. It's nice here, so I never really know a whole lot of what other people are saying about books. So when people say like things are overrated, I'm not 100% sure what that means. I really enjoyed To Kill a Kingdom, personally, as you guys know. I loved it. I hate Jules Julian from the Dark Artifices. I genuinely forgot his name, and I feel like I would, if I knew him in real life, I feel like I wouldn't know him in real life. Like, I would just roll my eyes and he would go back to cooking pancakes and painting creepy pictures. So I automatically don't like anyone who says Little Life is their favorite book. I read probably the first page of A Little Life and I put it down just because many reasons. I don't remember a thing. A lot of people in here have a lot of feelings about A Little Life and none of them are good. So the ending of Caraval, the first book, is absolute trash. Okay. The sex scene in Love Hypothesis was so cringy, it almost ruined the whole book for me. I'm gonna end it here. Yeah, honestly, I was kind of the same. There is one particular line that is said, and like I said, I've said this before, I'll say it many times, I don't enjoy dirty talk. Do not enjoy reading it at all. And there was one particular line that was said, and I was kind of like, I loved reading that book so much, and then we got to that point, and I was just like, ooh. So I feel you. I'm with you there. But yeah, those weren't too hard. Those weren't too bad. I didn't spill too many of my own secrets. I have some unpopular book opinions too. One thing that I learned from BookTube that I think I was very scared of in the beginning is I was quite scared. If everybody liked a book, I was quite scared to say that I didn't like it. And more often than not, I've learned that if I say an opinion that I thought was unpopular, I will find that there are many people who think the same way and just nobody says anything. Nobody says it. So whatever opinion you might be holding and you're thinking that you're the only one, chances are you are not. Say that Six of Crows is overrated. Just don't say it near me when I'm holding a sharp object. So anyway, I'm gonna go because as you can tell, my voice is gone. I'm gonna check if the internet is back on and I can order my food. So yeah, I'm going to end it here. But once again, just thank you guys so much. I'm just so truly honored is all I can say. Like I am honored to be a part of your lives in any way, and you are a wonderful part of mine. So I will see you guys next time. I hope you're all doing well. I have read a bunch of books. I have read a thriller. So if you guys are sick of me talking about young adult fantasy, I have a thriller to review for you in our next video. I will see you later. Oh, fun fact. Before I let you go and before my voice completely disappears, Kurt is reading Dune. We saw Dune. We enjoyed the movie immensely. I knew the basics of the story, but I had never read it. And Kurt he has bought books 1, 2, and 3. A lot of people were like, oh my god, I really want this edition. It's the Korean edition, so if you can read it in Korean, you can buy it, but if not, maybe don't. But something I thought was so funny is in Korea, the publishing world, because it's like quite expensive, people don't buy a lot of books here. It's expensive to get these translated and printed and stuff. Book publishers will like go above and beyond to make a book worth a lot of money. So they'll use like really fancy paper and stuff like that. They do a lot of special editions. They did a collaboration with Lemona, which if you don't know what that is, I already ate this one. But it's like a little packet. It's almost like a pixie stick, if you guys remember those. Like it's just powder, but it's a vitamin C. It tastes like lemon. It's just a vitamin C boost. But they did a collaboration with Dune because it's supposed to be like spice. If you know the story of Dune, there's spice. And I just thought that was so funny. Why would they do that? Random fun fact from today. But yeah, I'm going to go now, rest my voice, and read a little bit. Edit this. So I will see you guys next time. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for sending your opinions. I'm sorry if I didn't get to yours or if I didn't read yours in particular. There were a lot of repeats. I love you all so much. Thank you for absolutely everything. I will see you next time.